Alright, I should have waited until, I shouldn't have engaged that conversation until I was back.
Well, we have
Shiny red flag. Thank you for the follow.
arrival.
Welcome aboard. Hey, mic on, we're good? Okay. So, different panels. So, there was a Samsung monitor. I dug through my brain enough, I could probably remember the model, but like a 22-inch wide screen, just LCD from some years back, before the LED bulbs went into all our panels. Anyways, the actual screen inside the monitor, the physical panel, the LCD panel, there were 3 different ones. You could go to the store and buy this Samsung, 3 of them. You buy 3 off the shelf, and you might get 3 different actual screens manufactured in different plants by different companies in different countries. So the same model actually had, you were talking about you couldn't get the color settings right on your new monitor, right? That's what it made me think of, because I had 2 identical Samsung monitors side by side, and you could not get them to look the same because there were slight differences in the manufacturing quality, because there were actually 3 different panels being made. And that's when I did some research, and you could dig into which serial numbers went with which panels, and I went farming through Best Buys to find 3 matching or two matching panels. Woo! Greetings, man. Hello. Welcome, sir. Let's take a quick trip up to the freighter let's go grab some glass. This afternoon, all. What's on your plate this weekend? Today? Yeah, the people at Best Buy thought I was a little crazy back then when I went in with a few printed pages of info and tried to return one of my monitors and asking them if we could pull some off the shelf and check serial numbers. But that's exactly what they did. What do you think of it? The Forsaken, it's called, right? The new Destiny expansion? Taking a break for a bit? We may as well just bring this all. I'll make more glass later. So I guess we could grab the frost crystals that are... I should have picked the frost crystals that are there anyways and turn them into more glass. Kinda lazy not to. Enjoying it a lot. You're glad you didn't want to try and do the raid yesterday? I saw something. The first clan to pull it off, it took 19 hours for them to pull it off. I assume once it's understood how it works, it's not going to take 19 hours for other people to do it, right? I don't know what the raid system is. Is it a timed event that's only available occasionally? It wasn't a one-off, was it? I assume people can still go do the raid if they want, but I don't really know. Jack. Hey, let's stay up here for a second. Look at this lake. And how our base is pretty well centered. And all that space we're talking about building in is so small in the middle of the lake. If we were actually gonna use more of the lake... Anyways, we are 3 or 4 base widths from the shore. We are nowhere near shore. Except maybe on the other side. But over here, we're a little closer to shore over here, but... I've taken a few. I guess take some more. looks to his monitor. It says Philips. I don't know. Depends. Is it a Philips monitor? Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the third panel was. So there's Samsung makes screens. They make a lot of screens. They make screens for Apple devices, even though they fight with Apple. They make a lot of screens. But at that time, the monitor I was thinking of, there's Chimay is so I think Chimay is a Chinese company, not a Korean one. But so these monitors had Samsung produced LCD panels in some of them. They're all Samsung branded, same model. Samsung produced panels in some of them. Chimay produced panels in some others. And I think those were considered, those were either the best or the worst. Somehow I don't think it was the official Samsung ones that were considered the best. There were 3 different panels. I wish I could remember what the third one was. Are we gonna pick some Frostwort, or it does grow back really quickly? I don't know what's going on. It says what's going on. Frost than I thought. See, glass isn't that hard to produce. And that's just one of the 4 pods of frost. Not all that glass was from the frost. I brought a bunch down from the ship. What did we just make? 3 stacks of glass? 4 stacks of glass? Okay, maybe I don't pick the rest of the Frostwort. I don't think we need this much glass. We're building underwater. I can't build that fast underwater. So, we didn't even need to go up to the ship. I should have just made glass from what was here. I feel that was silly. Okay. Silly is good. So we're turning this into Subnautica now? Oh yeah, man. Yeah. You gotta see. I would say BioShock, but people keep saying Subnautica. I don't know Subnautica. But we've done quite a bit of expansion, although some of what's here right now is experimenting. Not clear how much of that's permanent. But when you come in from that secret entrance we made the other day, into this little interchange, we've got a passage that's heading out that way, although we haven't built out in this direction. We have room to build out in that direction. We have our prefab and biodome down below. Something to look at from up here and something to look from up at all of this stuff. It's a pretty cool view of the construction coming together. And a lot of the passages, a lot of these doors are temporary access points. As we try different things, we need lots of access. Are you enjoying that? Fantastica, you like? And what we were doing before the break and before going up for more glass, we were working on this section up here. All right, Captain, it does. It does. It does. We discovered that it does. Check this out. Okay. You have to bear with me here. The exocraft, which we might move. Right now, the roamer geobay is down here tucked in this spot, but I think this would make a great spot for a like a longhouse, a room of some sort, long rectangular room. You were saying if the cave egress to the surface, you totally build an enclosed access ramp for the roamer. And I think we eventually could. I don't know if we're gonna want to go through this wall and out, but hold this thought. Think about this wall right here. And just that direction. Okay? Keep that in mind. Let me get us some air here. And the next update lets you place exocraft bays indoors. I'll try to remember that. So, exocraft's down there, and think about that direction as I swim off this way. There is a natural access, natural egress from this cave to the surface, but it's back here. Now, I thought this was beyond the boundaries of the base, but as it turns out, look at how far we can go into this additional space. We can build all the way out to about here. About there. It disappears somewhere around here. So yeah, we can build all the way out here and down here. And down here, I think, is on the far wall. Look at where the geobay is. Check out where I'm swimming. Look at where the geobay is. Now, all right, that's 50 units. That's not close. And it's probably solid rock. No, we're still in. Dude, we're still in. Another base computer. We're still in. If you snap things one to the other, you can build as far as you like. What do you mean? Past base boundaries? Are you talking about two different things? Forget putting down a second base computer. Can you build as far as you want past base boundaries if you simply snap things together? Just don't remove anything because it won't reimburse the resources. That's a fair compromise. If it lets you build past your base boundaries, that's got to be a bug they're going to fix at some point. We can't expect that will persist. Yeah, there should not be as much light down here. It's not just from the kelp sacks. There's a luminescence that should not exist down in all of these caves, but that's good, so we can see. All right, let's say we tunneled through and the roamer had access here. You asked about natural egress. The natural egress is straight ahead. Do you see it? There's the natural egress. There's actually 2 points, right there and right there. I'm not even sure if that's, yeah, I think that one also, but here we go. So there's the crack in the wall. The base boundary is right around here. See, I can't build here, but we could probably build here. We can get pretty damn close already. Look at that. And there's our egress right there. So, yeah, I don't know what I want to do with it, but he said it's quite the construction project. Well, this is a big-ass lake. And look at the size of the pillar we're building around. And the cave system we're in is really quite large, too. But there it is. That's the natural egress. But it's a deep lake, and it's a big-ass lake. So I don't know what we're trying to get to. If we egress with the roamer, Where are we trying to end up? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think I want to tunnel through this hole, though. I want to keep the shape of this hole. This natural breach is pretty cool. You keep finding angles that make the base look even more cool. That's why I'm getting off on this whole thing. I can just spend hours staring at it. Maybe build one thing and then move it. I've been trying not to dig into the rock. I've been trying to use the space without digging into the rock. But I've been willing to make some compromises. In fact, we never did, you know what? We never did. I made that autosave before the break, but I'm not loading anything right now, I'm just looking. Made that autosave before the break, but a full hour before was when we made the hard save before building this box. I was still trying to decide if we wanted to put a prefab here, or if we want to put a the cubes. I don't mind a little bit of rock formation, but I'm trying to minimize it. If we were just gonna cut through the rock, then it doesn't matter that we're using the cave. I want to use the cave, not reshape it. Yeah, Phillips. That goes back. Phillips was one of the original CD standard compact disc creators, weren't they? Alright, the air pockets are kind of annoying, but we won't be hitting them as much once the base is constructed however we want it. This is a temporary access port while we think about this. We gotta... So you guys liked it? Huh? Why am I still on the fence about this room? The alternative was a prefab. I guess we're not going back, otherwise it doesn't matter the stuff I crafted, the money we made. I don't mind undoing that and loading a save, but I really wasn't thinking about that we weren't done deciding if we wanted this structure or something else. All right. I mean, I like it. I just don't know what we're gonna do with any of these rooms. So if I weren't on stream, I might spend another hour staring at it and just thinking about it. But that would be a little silly for the stream. Thought about adding another story of cubes, but it would cut into the rock. And if we added the curved ones, at least one of them would cut into the rock. See what they would look like. That one would cut into the rock a fair bit. That one might. Yeah, they would. These three would all cut into the rock. But if we could do a roof like that. Why though? It makes the room taller, but what does it get us? Not much. Not much to look at going up this way. If wonder, can you anchor a cuboid to the corner of a cuboid? I don't think so. Check. Yeah, I was thinking we could do it with a wall. I can still put it there, but we put a cuboid here, right in this spot, like maybe one. And what am I thinking? I'm thinking. shelf? Another tier of the room that's a shelf? Why would we do that? I don't want this here at all. I was just thinking of using it as a spacer to move something out. Damn, okay. So we have a hard save from over an hour ago from before we built this box and before we crafted those stasis devices. I know it's hard to have a proper two-way conversation about this stuff, but glass versus prefab, why am I still hung up on this? It's just a little thing. It's just a permanent part of the base, that's what. Is this the correct use of the space here? There's a little more space. Is there some way to better use this space? What about the dome and prefab setup? It's really pretty tall. Almost 3 or 4 cuboids tall. You're thinking one more floor. So that was one of the original thoughts, was one more floor. Just stack it, just stack another 6 cubes on top of it, but it'll cut away at the rock, and what do we gain? I'm not sure what we gain. Raider Watt, hello! Hey Raider. You think it looks good, and you would keep it. You'll stick with your opinion. Also, if we put on another level, not that I plan on spending a lot of time standing on it, but it gets a lot more crowded. It means we're pressed up against the ceiling, and it's just a block. It means that this particular structure has no room to breathe if we add a story. I think I prefer it breathing. Sure it is. But I don't want to. I am trying to use the natural shape of the cave as much as possible. Could you put another level in the middle and then remove the door and add a ramp stairs? Yeah, actually, that's an interesting idea. This door was always temporary, just for getting in and out while we look at stuff, going in for air. Since it makes air pockets, I guess we don't need the door. So you add another level, but in the middle, and then add the door back and a ramp and stairs. Well, we could. I don't even know if we need access over here. Do we need access over here? Maybe we want it just to have it, but let's... So that is possibly going to avoid cutting into the ceiling. Really close, though. Want to risk it. That actually, so that adds some shape. Now, I don't know if I like it yet, but that adds some shape right there. Stairs and access ramps are weird things. The stairs aren't going to bind to the door, are they? But the access ramps might, like the ones I used as little landing pads, tongues for the hydro farm up top. Because this is underwater, I want to use glass, but because it's glass, we have no opaque walls to put decals on. It would be neat to put decals all over the glass, but they don't. That doesn't work. You think you like the low profile more? Well, noted. For starters, when we're inside it, so that gives us, you know, a little more room if we're gonna put anything in here for what we can see. I don't think from inside there's anything lost. And as for what we gained, well, we have a way to swim out. That's one thing we gained. From up here, it has a very different look. What if that would be the curved glass piece with the door? What do you mean curved glass piece with the door? Oh, I don't know if we could put a door on it, but the curved glass piece. Deltastica, you agree with C-Star. You don't think this little pop-up is adding anything to it, huh? Well, let's play around. Like that one. So it could face this way, or it could face the other way and have the door out on this side. That would also look kind of weird from up here, but we're not going to be, remember, we're not going to be back here much. It's actually classed as a roof. Makes sense. I bet it lets us put a door on the back of it. Oh, that's weird. It kind of glitches out. It becomes transparent completely. It doesn't really look like it was made for that. And we're not really going to get a view out of it there. It's good to know, though, that it does that. So one thing is, we don't necessarily need an exit from this room. Right now, the only entrance exit is the corridor from the upper biodome. And the only access to the biodome... So we were trading off access before. We gave the biodome some easy access, and we closed off easy access to the prefab. Right now, the only access to that room is through the biodome. So that might not quite be enough access. Good place for a smoke. Aren't all these rooms are good smoking rooms? They're all good smoking rooms. Like, look at what about our biodome down there? That was the original smoking room down there, which looks up at all this stuff we're building. Oh yeah, we got a lot of room for nip-nips now. Perfect secret bar. Perfect secret bar. All right. So maybe restricted access to this room up here is sort of a plus. We could look at it that way. If you were swimming around in the base, you might see it and go, "Oh, that's what's in there. I want to get in there," but you can't get in there. I mean, you can, but you'll have to figure out where the hell you're going. Backtrack through the corridors, figure out where the access is. This is also probably temporary. Is the roamer causing part of that bubble? So the roamer won't fit through here, not even if we boost. I kept thinking it would be like Mass Effect 1 when you're in the Mako and you're supposed to exit the Mako. When you're going to rescue Liara for the first time in Mass Effect, you can ram the Mako through that spot. Oh well, can't get it out of my head. But I don't want to widen that hole, even though it would be cool to drive the roamer through. I want to keep the natural breaking the wall the way it is. And if we need a way for the roamer to get out, I don't know if we're going to keep the geobay down here, but we could tunnel through at some point into the rest of the cave system out there. There's also up here, once we continue this tunnel, it'll be interesting to see if we'll still be able to fit the roamer up here. We may or may not be able to. Probably not once we build up here, but it kind of dead ends anyways. Quote Pink Floyd, anytime. But I do think some sort of a roamer passage, don't know where or what. That's visible, because that pocket had nothing to do with the roamer being there. Yeah, we can make a tunnel for the Mako if we want. So this corridor is our third level. We have 3 levels of corridors right now. And while I don't think we're going to continue that corridor over here, there's not really any good places for it to go. This is our second level corridor. And once it extends out to about here, we have some vertical space. So we'd be able to bring this back up to a 3rd level. And I don't know what we're doing with this. Think about the little hot box we just made. Maybe we have a bigger box. That's one possibility. We have. It's deceptive. I can't really. Hard to eyeball. I'm sure we have room for. Start over. You see this interchange here? It's 2 by 2 by 2. It has some curved pieces, but it's basically 2 by 2 by 2. You see how it just barely fits in there? There's room around it diagonally, but it just barely fits the other way. We're gonna kind of have that same situation up in here. The bubble looks a little bigger. Rex! 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 Hey. Howdy. So this area in here looks a little bit bigger, but I can't tell. I'm not sure we're going to be able to build anything bigger in that space than a box about that size, 2 by 2 by 2. And there's also the alignment. It's 2 by 2 by 2, and it has to connect. Well, it doesn't have to connect. We can have gaps where you swim out and swim in. That's okay. But I would want to do it for a purpose. I would want it to feel like the right thing to do. Don't ask! But we're building a base. The base building's fun. Hope you're good out there, man. We also don't have to build a room out of cuboids here. That is not the only option. we now have 2 of these prefab plus a biodome. They don't have to go together. We can float a biodome by itself. We can do a prefab by itself. The circular rooms are not the only prefabs. There's square rooms, and while they might be a little uglier, square rooms give you a different use of the space inside, so they're not useless. But it just doesn't look like a square room space to me. Look like a prefab and a dome. And if we build with cubes, that's square too, I realize. But I don't know what I want here. So before we place anything that might dig out the walls, we gotta drop a save. Let me go grab my save terminal from over here, the one I left in the dome. Guardian, back. Welcome back. Undomesticated equines dragged you away. Wild horses. New DLC? Right on. So, we're not going back. I'm just thinking about it. That was the manual save before we built the cube, before we changed some terrain. We never really did decide before the break, and now we've moved past it, and I'm deciding that it's okay. Yeah. All right. And life goes on. Who would know about the terrain edits? I want to ask about the base terrain edits. When you're building stuff, look on the right side of the screen. Under the orange line, editing Hydro Farm 1, it says base uploadable, base terrain edits, and it has a gray circle that's just slightly more than a quarter full. It doesn't just say base edits, it says terrain edits. I'm unclear on what restriction that refers to. If we reform too much terrain, are we going to reach a cap after which we cannot reform any more terrain in the base? Yeah. So I think that the quarter of the base terrain edits, we may have used a quarter of our potential base terrain edits by tunneling through the rock with those glass cuboids. See what I'm getting at? So I don't really know what system is at play there, but it's another reason to be judicious with placement of things, and we don't just want to go tunneling like crazy. We can probably do a lot. We can probably displace or create a lot of rock, but I don't want to hit that limit when I still have, I don't want to hit that limit. I doubt it has anything to do with the structures that you're building. My guess is that the terrain is generated, everything's generated from a seed, right? A lot of seed numbers are used to generate things. So the base terrain edits represent alterations, changes from what would be generated by the seed code. That makes sense? Am I off in the ether here? I'm a little out of my element. If you do run out, put down another base terminal. But they can't overlap, right? Another base terminal would be for another area, even if it was adjacent. You can't overlap your bases. You drop a hard save and remove a lot of terrain and see what happens to that circle. I know I just made a hard save, but that gives me the willies. Yeah, we could, but I think I'd want to make a desktop level save before I literally start trashing the place. We can do that. Hey, Rage, we're building Rapture, my man. What's on your plate? This is under the you saw the hydro farm, right? Oh, we are working on a little bit of rapture. All right, probably give me a heart attack, but let's just do this anyways. I'm curious. Yes, I'm making a desktop level hard save though. Just, I didn't even make one for today. So before we go building any more stuff, worth doing anyways. Yeah, I had half a frozen pizza yesterday. I only cooked half. I've gotten in the habit of busting frozen pizzas in half and just cooking them half at a time. I have to do the other half. I'm just gonna wait a little bit. Entropic, time for you to go. Have a good night, everyone. Good night to you, brother. See you on the other side. Well, man. Just the two of us. And we're on different sides of the pond, too. Okay, so why do we do that? Save and then make a desktop save? Because I will be much more comfortable trashing the base space the way we're about to deliberately to test something when I know that I'm going to be able to fix it one way or another. Alright, what's gonna be the what I have for materials? We want to tunnel a bunch. We don't necessarily have to use glass, pure ferrite, ferrite dust. Do we have any structures that use ferrite dust? Those might be the best for some quick tunneling. Solid, yeah, that's pure ferrite dust. Solid cube. But I'm not going to be able to go into the cube, though. What are the tunnels? Do one of the tunnels use, is it going to clear space where I can walk if I do floor panels? Rage, you've been playing the hell out of Spider-Man. Really seem to like that. You can have 48 exosuit cargo slots. You can if you upgrade them. Yeah, sure can. So I can't start with that until I put down something else. This is a weird... yes, we're going to test this because I'm already invested. We're doing it, but... we're going to load the save and undo this catastrophe we're about to create on purpose. Alright, watch the base terrain edits in the corner. It's a little past a quarter right now. We're about to start tunneling through rock. Although I don't think I have enough pure ferrite down here with me. Silly, but... build 10. That didn't affect it that I could tell. So let's take the terrain manipulator. It'll let me? No, I'd have to be outside. We just go to town with the terrain manipulator and see if that's moving it? You think it did a little? Alrighty, you think it did a little. see what the floor panels would do. White dust. Okay. Alright, let's go to town. Base terrain edits. That was a good idea with the floor panels. This should really move it, if anything's going to. And, so I guess this is how you would make a nomad or a roamer path. Need a name after for that one. It is moving. Do you see it? It is moving. So it seems like there is a finite amount of terrain modifications you can do in a base. This is a great way to hollow out space, though, isn't it? Yeah, I hesitate to try and interject and explain the commands that I barely have a handle on myself, even though I created them a few years ago. They're always messy. But they are explained on the website to some degree if you want to see. But it always pains me a little bit to see people trying and they're not working. And I want to explain how they work, but I usually just confuse people more when I try to explain. All right, well, there's our answer. Look, we could hollow out a bunch more of this, and the next thing you know, we'd probably be out of available terrain edits for the base. So, lesson learned. Now let's undo that. There we go. At least you don't have to explain time. Yes, I'm glad I don't. Shotgun. I missed them yesterday. All day yesterday I missed them. What's left of my fleet is back from a mission. An Elmer hole. So. Just looking at space. Whoa! Good morning, people. This is Lamia. Good morning, Lamia. Morning? Morning? Morning. Is it morning? Is it like the middle of the night morning for you? Is it 7? Come on. It's not morning for any of us. No morning eggs, pancakes. I can't finish the line. I didn't have that ready. Damn. There's something there, though. You could Well, I hope the next 24 hours treats you much better than the last 24 hours. Hope you're feeling rested. Nah. Nah, she's recovering. It's recovering. Okay. We don't have to go off in this direction right now, but that's one thought. Just go off in this direction. Figure out what to do with this space and go off in that direction. KG, hope your eye mends quickly. Go rest it. You weren't gonna type so much, but you pushed through. Thanks for hanging out today. Says good night, everyone, and have fun. Sweet dreams. Okay, so up there, that's one place we could work on. I really like this spot down here, so I'm not prepared to use it yet. I have only the roughest idea of what I might want to do down here with this special little spot. I love how this is carved out the way it is already. But something? Maybe even laying out some paving like we just did so that it makes a very shallow cave. Paved cave. Little road for the roamer to exit through. She blows. Rapture. Underwater engines. Well. There it is. Good song. Sorry, we don't have song requests turned on. Anyways, but good song. Let's leave this for now. Let's sleep on that. Think about what to do with it. What to put in there. We have this connector piece. Now, I said I don't want to widen that natural opening. But I do keep wondering about the remaining bit of space here and how it's adjacent to that opening. Although, just having a porthole on this side of the base is probably a good idea. And there's nothing else over here. If you happen to be swimming over here and you need to get in, there's nothing. I mean, that's a separate structure down there, and it may stay that way. Access on the far side of these corridors is probably temporary. And we decided not to put a door in that little smokehouse. Maybe we just leave this where it is, although that air pocket is annoying as all get out. we build anything out from it besides more than a single straight corridor piece, which we could, but I don't think it needs it. I wish we could have a porthole on the underside, on the top or the bottom of a structure. I don't want any more corridors coming out of that. And I kind of want to keep this space open. And though it would accommodate a lot of structures, I want the open space of the cave to feel like open space of a cave, and I want this verticality. I want to preserve that. This is my swim space. At least until we build out past the rocks here. That old Unreal Tournament level. I didn't play much of it, so I don't know the level you're talking about. I played Quake 3 Arena, though. Back in the day. I didn't play a lot of multiplayer anything, or shooters especially, but some Quake and some Medal of Honor Allied Assault, the first one of the first ones. The curved cuboid bits, I get that they're not all glass, but it'd be nice if they were. Those are the only opaque pieces. I just realized I'm not going to settle on any decals, I doubt, but adornments, decals. We actually, that's the only opaque surface we could put decals on in the base. I know I'm going around in circles, but that's what I've been doing here. I'm enjoying going around in circles. And if we build up that way, it's kind of shaped like this. Not a wide open space, it's a long space. But it rises. There's this one bubble right here. This spot looks a little wider than some of the rest. Like there's a little more building potential here, but the difference is negligible. We're trying to stuff a prefab in there. Gonna do another little tower. What about a dome with no prefab under it? Corridor section badly needs a ramped piece, though. Make it so, Sean. More ways to deal with vertical spaces would be good. that's all the way over to the... That's not what I was going for at all. Huh. Okay, just thinking. Also, those curved pieces, they're never going to do this, but those curved pieces, if you could turn them upside down, you could get some really cool shapes out of them. But then you'd be standing on the curved floor on the inside, and that wouldn't work at all. Yeah, they really are. The cubes, well, the cubes or much more complex version, you can have a corridor going into a prefab, raise it with a dome, exit through the dome. But yeah, needs a lot more space than the cube. But technically, it's another option for Z-axis stuff. That's how we got to the third level corridor over there. There's no cube rising it from the second level to the third level. We've got the, yeah, prefab or a dome. Yep. Is there any reason to consider that here? What would a stack, besides hitting the walls, what would a stack of... Look ugly. Stack of circular prefabs here? And the only way to access each of them would be to give them their own doors or put those ladders in the middle. Ugh. But let's say you were in a room that was up here. You would have a kind of neat view looking down. I mean, it would be one way to go up. Can you guys tell me something about the melee boosting on PC and rifles and one versus two-handed weapons? Maybe you can explain. I read something that I don't understand. This weapon was given to me by a shady Vy'keen. Besides looking like it came from Splatoon, it is a 24-slot S-class rifle. And I took for granted that you know, doing the melee boost jetpack, that it works. And then I read something about one-hand versus two-hand rifles. That looks like a two-hand rifle, but I saw a 24-slot weapon somewhere that looked kind of like a oversized submachine gun, and it was clearly a one-hand weapon with 24 slots. Wait a second. You caught my eye with that one. You really got the rocket boots. I tried making those jet boots and they didn't work, and I looked it up and people said, yeah, they're broken. Captain, you said you think they fixed the melee boost in the next patch. Gonna hurt, but fair enough. Something to do with the rocket boots. If they fix the jump boots, I can't wait to see what those things do. What are they like? I love the description. Doc, that's a bit of a... That's a genuine question, whether or not you mean it facetiously or quite seriously. But you realize that to just interject that kind of a question is like, here, jump through these hoops right now. I don't have a ready answer for that. I'd have to stop a thought process. Yeah, take your time. Yeah, I'd have to stop all other thought process to give you an answer to that question, which is kind of an involved thought process. And yeah, we're talking about games, but, you know, every once in a while, someone comes in and is like, what's your favorite game, or what's your favorite this, or what's your favorite that? I really struggle with this favorite stuff. I'm not dying, because I'm not in multiplayer, so we're actually paused. The pausing is real. Pausing is real. But if it makes you feel any better, we can stand right here. The get a tertiary thread. Aha, on the backside. Sandbox emergent gameplay. Random seeds and robust housing. You said no theme, so I kind of screwed that part. Yeah, I'm not trying to do 10. You can take your 10 and... I'm not coming up with 10. I'm just trying to give you something. That's what you get. Come on, I'm not taking a quiz. Character creation. I don't know what I want to say about it. I don't know how many words I want to put into that, but... we'll see what happens. I might even get some more. But I want to think about this. I'm not... You want me to not say a game. What I'm trying to break down in my head is... how would I describe Star Wars Galaxies in 10 words? But you don't want me to say Star Wars Galaxies. No, Star Wars Galaxies is like 80% of my ideal game. To this day, there are just so many things that have not been satisfactorily... What am I trying to say while I'm drowning here? Space sim plus trading plus sim. Yeah, we can zerg to 10 with a few easy words, but... I'm not looking for words to 10 here. I'm just thinking about... the class system, and it wasn't really a class system, the profession system, the skill point system, the profession system, which was... always broken, and it never did get fixed because they overhauled the game instead of fixing it. There has never been anything like it that I'm aware of. Yes, there are some games here and there that are being made, have been made, or being made that call out, yeah, we have a crafting system or a mining system or a trading system and a player-based economy, and everything's crafted by the players, and it's all interdependent, and no one has ever put... Star Wars Galaxies was an empty shell of a game, and it is the best game I've ever played, even though it was this empty shell of a game. It had these systems that were beautiful and broken. They were so wonderfully imperfect, elaborate, codependent. It was a clusterfuck of RNG, and it was beautiful. And you could place anything, the housing system, you could take any object in your inventory and drop it, and you could move it and rotate it. From the command line, /rotate, how many degrees, move up, how many units. You could do anything with anything in the physical space inside your houses. It is unmatched to this day in so many ways. Shotgun, Damn, missed. I sailed right through the car. Right through the shuttle. You have to put something after the note for the note command to work. Ah! Yeah, so I know we're not just here to build and play, but to chat too. But yeah, we start talking about other games and what's your favorite game stuff. I'm gonna have to stop the gears turning. I'm trying to contemplate spatial use and spatial anomalies. Alright, so this corridor is not really centered, and if I move it over, that's no better. So I think I wanted to try. Eventually got to put something somewhere. We were talking about cuboids being the only practical way to work the Z-axis, and then we were talking about being able to use domes, prefabs, and other prefab stuff. Only Lamia. Well, we know who the badass is. Lamia can bring our bodies back. He'll bring our bodies back, right? I want to see what the dome would look like without prefab under it. You can see it would cut into the rock there. And it also would not... We couldn't build on top of that. And if we came out of that biodome, we'd be coming out of it right about here. Not a great spot to be. Not a great spot to be. Nice. I gotcha. What about here? And if there were a biodome here, it would have a nice view down, and it would apparently have some nice light coming in up here. I don't know. What else do we want up here? This is a dead end. Excuse me. So I don't think we're going to really use much of this space over here. Really steep. I don't know what we would put there. So if we keep building in this direction, I think we would not build past about here. And we don't have to build this far out, but we might. We could try and extend that corridor to somewhere around here. Try and put a dome out here. Are you hyped for Anthem, Failtastica? I can't say that I am, but I'm not really hyped for anything. Part of that's just me being all busted up, but Anthem honestly didn't grab me. Maybe it will. Maybe it will. What has you? What's got your attention? Stuff about the world state or the nature of the combat, or while I'm standing here, probably couldn't do it anymore because of the circular prefab. Oh, you're a huge mech sci-fi fan. I know, so the mechs, for some reason, going all the way back to the Mech Warrior games and way back in the day, mech stuff has always just been kind of, to me. I like it, but I've never loved it. it doesn't pull me in. I'm totally cool with it, but it doesn't excite me the way it excites other people. I don't know why. I like robots and tech, but the mech and mech combat has never been. I don't know why. It's never grabbed me. But so Titanfall, when Titanfall came out, just the basic premise, like, so it's another mech combat game. Well, I like them in movies. I like the idea of power suits. Ripley in a power suit. Saints Row 4 making fun of power suits and power armor, and I love the concept. I mean, it's fun. I just don't get giddy for mech combat games. And you like fighting against mechs, but being in a mech, not so much. That might be part of it. It's if I'm gonna have an array of panels and control, if I'm gonna be so disconnected from what I'm doing, there's gonna be layers of interface between me and what I'm doing. My brain thinks that's a ship. That's a ship and a cockpit and the control panel or a HUD for some sort of vehicle. And okay, well, yeah, that's what a mech is. You're in a vehicle that can kick the shit out of something. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that's awesome, but I want my vehicles to be vehicles and my ass kicking to be done with something I'm holding in my hands. Yeah, I don't know. Rambling along. Yeah, the VODs do get saved, Doc. They're all saved and then eventually archived as well. So I mean, they get saved on Twitch right away. They're there immediately, and then they end up on YouTube as well. Lamia does all the hard work to do that. She is the master archivist here. So please pass on your thanks. H2OD. So how recommended is this game? The reviews are so mixed. Hi, by the way. Didn't mean to ignore you there. I didn't see it first. Are you still there? Maybe. I've only been playing it a month. The game has a tremendous amount of systems and, I would just say content, but it's mostly systems and potential compared to what it used to have. I didn't play it before when it was bare bones, but I can tell you that it's not bare bones now. It's still very buggy. The game is very buggy. We have a big base up above ground, and we're working on an underwater portion of this base. Right now we're doing mostly staring and thinking and talking, but we're slowly using this cave space to build a little rapture. Quake 4 mech sections. What's banned off of Twitch? Keep waiting for the classic Leisure Suit Larry games to not the new, not Magna Cum Laude, but 1, 2, really 1, 3, and 5. We could play, all right, 1, 2, 3, and 5. Although I would straight up need, you know me and point and click games. I'll get stuck anyways, just because I've played them before. I get stuck in them. Pull out the old guides for Leisure Suit Larry. Where do we find Patty's bits? Maybe those games will never get re-rated and allowed. I still think of them as classics just because they're horrible. Our history is full of many things that we might not choose to do again. upon reflection. I don't mean playing it, I mean, would they still make, if the Leisure Suit Larry series didn't exist, and I really don't want to indulge this too much right now, it's my fault for even bringing it up or bringing it any further, but, I don't think that game series would see its inception and success in the current day and age. In fact, any attempt to continue the series now is kind of on thin fucking ice. But that said, the games exist, and I love and cherish them. Whatever else they represent, it's part of what has happened. Aha, sitting for hours and not really adding anything. Staring at the block of marble before carving. This little depression here. If we're not going to be driving the roamer up here, this is a... This feels like a spot for a prefab. It is. Assuming you were self-censoring, I don't think it censored you, right? Yeah. Not gonna just drop a room freestanding here, but same situation. It's, practically in the depression I was looking at, as close to in the depression as anything would be. But then at the end of the line, if we put a biodome there, we don't really have a good way to get out of the biodome on the other side. By just putting a hatch that exits right here. Just extend this a little further. Change anything for the exit of the biodome, it just pushes it a little further out. If we put a biodome down and wanted to exit the other side and we're willing to move a little bit of rock, good. So the exit would be right here. If we put a biodome there, there would be an exit potentially right here. Be a little lower, but then do we just leave that open space or build out? I mean, it could be the end of the. It could be the end of a line, the line over here. Okay if it is. One of the advantages of working with the prefabs instead of the cuboids. I mean, the cuboid rooms You have a big open space. You can build the room to any size and shape you want with solid or translucent walls. But inside a cave, where we really can't build bigger than a 4x4, or what do we have up there, a 3x2? Sorry, 2x2 or a 3x2. Blah, 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 blah. I can't speak clearly. But there's not a lot of room for a big creative structure with the cuboids. You can make a small cube, or a flat rectangle, or a bigger cube, or a bigger rectangle. They do have the most visibility from the inside, a little bit more even than the biodomes. But the biodomes have this nice curved shape, and they've got the honeycomb pattern, and I think it might be worth moving the rock. That's okay. So what did I miss? If you make the door from the wall. Reading this backwards, you can play with that regarding the z-axis. If you make the door using the wall in the other section of, play with that. How do you? I'm not sure what you're talking about in the game. You're talking about with the biodome. You make the door using the wall in the other section of pieces. I think I'm on the wrong track here. What are you talking about? Treat fucker. That had gone in. Are you sure? I mean, channels have... Twitch has settings for channels. In addition to the maturity flag, there is a filter, language filter. I don't believe I have that turned on. And then individual users, is it possible you have your own filter on? I think you can type what you want. Section that allows you to move these floors. What section that allows me to... I'm sorry, I'm so lost. If you can bring me back to where you're at. The section that allows you to speak as you would to a child. What are we talking about? I mean, my earliest thought was to move it up and then further off in that direction. What door? But I mean, let's start over. You can make the door. What door? What door are we talking about? I realize I may have been talking about a door, but I don't know what door I was talking about when you responded to something about a door. If you make the door, I don't know what door we're talking about anymore. We could just start there. What door? Start over. Lost all context. What section with wood, concrete, and metal? We have one of those? Oh, in my menu, in the menu, the section with wood, concrete, and doors, in the menu. All right, context. You're talking to me about the menu, and I'm looking at the stuff in the, I'm looking out here and thinking about, okay. The wall in the other section of, see what I mean? That was the missing thread. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? We're talking about the menu. Oh, the menu. Well, now I have the context. Okay. Make the door using the wall in the other section of pieces. You can play with that regarding the z-axis. The axis. Ah, the wall. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We got there! Yay! So I only want to make one wall piece right now, because the second one will chop away some rock that I have no intention of. That one might cut some rock too. Right here. But if we make a wall piece, and then we make another wall piece above it, we can start to build. See if I can understand why you might have been suggesting that as an alternative. What would that get us? So if we use the wall pieces to play with the z-axis, axis, it gives us an aligned point, like an anchor point where we can build off of. Even though it won't be a corridor, that won't connect to a corridor we start up here, but we could start a corridor up here that was aligned with the one below it. And there's some value in that too. We had, one of the things we were talking about earlier was the possibility, and this might be this was actually the spot I was talking about it in. A good example of why we might want to leave a door. We could extend the corridor a little more and then put a door. But to get to another section of the base, it's okay to have to swim a little. So you go through here and up this corridor, and then you pop out a hollow door, you go through a little porthole, and you swim up and into another porthole in another section of the base. We're already doing that. I mean, it was one of the first things we did down here, and I'm okay with it. That's what we got here. This is a standalone structure that's part of the base. Don't know what we're gonna do with it. If we'll attach more stuff to it, will it connect to another standalone structure down there? Will it connect, or will there be another standalone structure down there? What's wrong with swimming sections? Nothing. In fact, they could be really cool if used meaningfully. Like, we have a port there, and then we have a potential porthole up here. And we line them up by playing with some walls. Might have to sacrifice a little bit of rock when we put some of these things in place, but it's for a good cause. Yes, we need a landing pad down here. I think we do. And then to summon our ship. Hey, what happened with the last one? I missed the end of the last wormhole. Did we make it? Oh, the last one, wasn't there one wasn't there another one? Lamia dragged us through the last one. Yeah, Lamia, I just thought there was another one in the middle. Somehow, my brain is fragmented. So, let's leave that where it is for now. I have to build off of it now.